Ndị YouTube na-abata ugbu a. Okay. YouTube adịrịgo. All right. Daalụkwanụ. Ndewonu. Aka bụ nwanne unu nwoke Ime Asonye. Eji m ohere a na-anabata mmadụ niile. Eji m ohere a na-ekelekwa ndị na-ewepụta ya dịka ohere maọbụ ndị ji ya kpọrọ ihe, nke bụ na ha na-abịa ihe ọmụmụ nke anyị hiwere kwa izu. Dịka unu maara, anyị na-ewepụta otu ụbọchị n'ime ọnwa iji nwee mkparịta ụka n'ihe gbasara anyị, nwekwa mkparịta ụka n'ihe gbasara ihe anyị kụzigoro maọbụ ihe anyị na-akụzi. Anyị wepụtara ụbọchị mbụ nke nkụzi a nke ọnwa iji nwee mkparịta ụka ahụ. Ya bụ taa. Ana m anabata unu n'afọ ọhụrụ, n'ọnwa ọhụrụ. Taa bụ abalị 3 nke ọnwa 8 n'afọ, nke bụ na anyị ka batara na ọnwa. So I welcome you all. This is Igbo Literacy Project, brought to you by Omenka app, and I want to use this opportunity to express my gratitude to all of you who make it a point of duty to come to this class. Kanye West, ndewo. Kanye West, amam na Kanye East. Kanye East nke a bụ nke nwafọ Igbo. Kanye East, ndewo. Mana m anabata gị na ihe ọmụmụ nke anyị na-eme, nke Omenka app na-ewetara unu kwa izu. All right, so I was just speaking in English to welcome those who do not primarily speak Igbo but make it a point of duty to come to this class. If you just ran into us for the first time, this is your first time of being here, you're welcome. If this is your first time, you are welcome. But if you've been at least showing up here on a weekly basis, I appreciate you. You are blessed to have found this class, and we are very fortunate to have you in the class. All right. If you see the topic of today, it says for all things IGBO. I think if you want to say in Igbo, it would have been Maka ihe niile gbasara Igbo. That is to say that today we're going to be having a conversation about whatever that is in your mind about Igbo. Nkata bụ nke kwesịrị ụmụafọ Igbo naanị ịkpa, mana ihe anyị ga-eji na-ekwu n'Igbo na-ekwu na Bekee bụ na anyị ka ji nsogbu anyị ji n'aka wee bụrụ nke anyị mara na ọtụtụ ụmụafọ Igbo nọ taa ndị na-anaghị asụ Igbo, ndị na-amaghị Igbo asụ. Enyemaka ka anyị na-ewetara unu, enyemaka ka anyị na-achinyere unu, mana amara m na unu ga-ewere enyemaka ji ya kpọrọ ihe, n'ihi na ọ bụrụ na unu eji enyemaka anyị na-achinyere unu ji ya kpọrọ ihe, ji aka unu gbaa mbọ ime ka unu nwekwuo nghọta n'ihe gbasara asụsụ na omenala unu, nke bụ na unu enweghị ngọpụ. Ekekere ụwa ga-ajụ unu ajụjụ ihe unu ji asụsụ na omenala unu mee, asụsụ nyere unu na mgbe ikpeazụ. Ọ ihe mụwa kwenyere. So I'm saying that if you are an Igbo speaker, we are in this class trying to accommodate you by speaking both English and Igbo because you do not speak your language, you don't understand it, or at least you don't understand it well. So we are here to create an opportunity for you to have this experience in your lifetime. But in the village available, village people. Right. But this experience we are creating to enable you take off from there. If you take it for granted, you will answer for it because you have no excuse anymore. Okay? Right. So today is conversational. Ndị YouTube, ndewonu. Kedu ndị nọ na YouTube, menu ka anyị mara. Menu ka anyị mara aha unu, na anyị ebidogo. Right. Maka ihe niile gbasara Igbo. Aga m ebido nkụzi a maọbụ nkata a. Ndewo Ekezie Chibuike Christopher, ya dere gị na mma, daalụkwa. Aga m ebido nkụzi a na mkparịta ụka nke ụbọchị taa site n'ịkọrọ anyị akụkọ ọrụ otu nwanne anyị nwanyị na-anọghị ebe a ugbu a na-arụ. Ndị na-abịa klaasị kamgbe ọnwa gara aga, unu maara isiokwu ndị anyị na-akpa, anyị gaje ịbanye n'ime ya, mana agaje m ibido site n'ịkọrọ anyị akụkọ ọrụ nwanne anyị nwaanyị nọ na YouTube and rather na TikTok na-arụ. I want to start today's conversation by bringing to our knowledge the work of one of our sisters. Her TikTok account is Nkiri Igbo. If you have not seen her work, please go ahead and follow. Check out her work, her account, and follow her. And I do see her videos and I commend her works. I share her videos, I like her videos, I comment on them. One of the videos that she made recently where she was, I think her child is about 2-year-old, yes. She has a 2-year-old daughter, yes. And I don't know when she started. I pray she joins us here today, and I will give her the opportunity to share with us again when she started doing what she did. Ana m akụzi asụsụ Igbo, n'omenala Igbo, na ihe niile gbasara Igbo. Ọrụ m na-arụ akwụsịghị na ịkụziri ndị ọzọ. Ana m agba mbọ ịhụ na n'ezinụlọ m na a na-asụ Igbo na ya. Ụmụazị m maara na etinyere iwu si na onye ọbụla ịgacha ebe ị na-aga ịlọta n'Igbo ka ị ga na-asụ. Amaara m na ọ bụghị ọrụ dị mfe. Ebidoghị m na ngwa dịka nwanne anyị nwaanyị a bidoro ile nwa afọ 2 jiri Igbo na-amụ ya okwu, na-akụziri ya ihe. Enwere m ihe kpatara na ebidoghị m otu ahụ. Enwere ike aga m akọrọ unu ya maọbụ agaghị m akọ ya taa, mana there was a reason for that. Mụ na nwunye m na mụrụ ihe gbasara asụsụ tupu ya mụrụ nke ya gawa ebe ọzọ. Ya mụrụ nke ndị nkụzi, ya mụrụ nke ndị ahụike, ha niile o jikọtara ha niile ọnụ. Mana ihe ọbụla gbasara asụsụ ka asụsụ na omenala, the society, how we behave linguistically and all that is what I have been trained to be and also to teach. I have the training. Ikenna, ndewo. But I get a huge inspiration. I get goose pimples when I watch some of the videos that this lady creates. You find out that this is not just a video a person is making just because they want to show off. Like today on social media, I na-ahụ na ndị mmadụ na-ejide kamera ebido gbawa egwu n'ihi na ha ma egwu agba. Ikenna ndewo, ya dịrị gị na mma, daalụkwa. Mana nwa afọ Igbo a onye bi n'obodo oyibo na mba ofesi na ala bekee mụtara nwa wee ghọta na ọ bụrụ na ya agbaghị mbọ na ndụ ya wee mee ka asụsụ Igbo banye nwa ya n'ọnụ n'oge na nwa agaghị asụ Igbo na ndụ ya. Nwa afọ Igbo onye bi n'ala bekee na mba ofesi, nwanyị, o wee site na gboo, o wee site n'oge kụziwere nwa ya Igbo ruo na ọ na-akụziri nwa ilu. Ndewo Ikenna. Ruo na ọ na-akụziri nwa ilu. Nke ahụ gbara m ara. Kedu ka o si akụziri ya ilu? Dịka m maara nwanne anyị nwanyị a, ọ gụghị ihe gbasara nkụzi, mana ka o si mara ka esi eji ihe ndị bekee na-akpọ object, ka esi eji ihe akụziri nwata ihe, amaghị m onye kụziri ya nke ahụ, mana obi dị m ụtọ mgbe m na-ahụ ọrụ ya. Do you give Igbo ceremonies to enroll African American into the tribe who have Igbo? Yes. Yes. I have done it twice. And this summer I intended to do that in the event we had a couple of weeks ago, but I wasn't able to. The time didn't permit us to. Yes, we give that opportunity to people who identify as Igbo, even to the point of people who identify as Nigerians. We say we give them the leeway to say you are Igbo. And what we do this because we know that greater percentage of people who identify as African Americans have Igbo DNA, and we know that one. All right, ndewo Obinna. Maybe Obinna ị ga-abata ahịa kpaa maka nke ahụ gị jụọ ajụjụ gị wee saa ya n'ihi taa bụ maka mkparịta ụka. Yes, initiation ceremony, induction, that's what we'll call it here as well. All right, so maybe we can start with that. So if you are ready, Obinna, ndewo nwada success. Obinna and Ikenna, ọ bụrụ na unu dị njikere, make am nabata unu ebe a, I can go ahead and send an request so that I can invite you to come to the microphone. Right. Dika nneche ndị nwere mmasị ịbata, and we have a very stretched out topic to discuss. Dika na-ahụ ya na board m dere ya maka ihe niile gbasara Igbo, asụsụ, omenala ndị Igbo na akụkọ ala na ihe ọbụla ị chọrọ itinye ọnụ na ya. Ya nwa mere m ji bido n'ịkọ ihe gbasara nwaada anyị bụ Nkiri Igbo, onye na-eme ihe omume nkụzi ya ọ na-akụziri nwa ya nwanyị na TikTok. Mgbe na-akọwa na nwaada etu o si mara na a na-eji ihe object akụziri nwata ihe ruo na ọ ga-eji ihe ahụ o ji akụziri nwa ahụ ihe ji na-atụrụ ya ilu. Thank you, Ikenna. That was something for me. And when I saw that video, I shared that video across, and I made a comment to say, I shared it on Igbo WhatsApp groups, and I made a comment. I said, this is what every Igbo parent should be doing. Ihe a bụ ihe onye nna na onye nna ọbụla bụ nwa afọ Igbo taa n'ọgbọ nke ahịa taa, onye ka na-amụ nwa, onye nwa ya ka dị ntakịrị, ma ọ bụ onye na-eche uche ịmụ nwa taa ma ọ bụ echi. Ihe a bụ ihe any parent should do as a matter of urgency. But rather than that, we are going around speaking grammar. Yeah, ndị TikTok, ngwa anọchiri m, ndị YouTube anọchiri m n'ụzọ, ngwa gụọ ya. Ihe m dere na bọọdụ bụ Igbo, language, culture, people, history, and more. na ogo ya ugbu a ndị YouTube ngwa daalụkwanụ ya dịrị unu na mma. Okay, ana m ajụ gị ebe a, ị bụ onye nna ma ọ bụ onye nne, ibi n'obodo na-abụghị Igbo? Ọ bụrụ na ọsịsa gị nye ajụjụ m bụ ee, ị na-amụ nwa ka ọ bụ na ị ga-achọ ịmụ nwa mgbe na-adịghị anya, kedu ụzọ ị ga-esi azụlite nwa gị mee ka nwa gị bụrụ onye ga-eto asụsụ Igbo anọrọ ya n'ọnụ? Are you an Igbo parent? Are you living outside of Igbo land? Do you have children, or are you still having children, or do you intend to start having children? How do you intend to train your child so that that child will grow speaking Igbo? Ikenna, no, ganihu, just send a request. Emeghela m ụzọ ka onye ọbụla chọrọ ịbata gwa m na ọ chọrọ ịbata wee nabata ya. Okay? Ọ bụ na o kwere gị, enwere m ike isi ebe a kpọbata gị mee ka m mara. Alright. Ndị YouTube, anyị ka nwere nsogbu, anyị onwe mgbe anyị nweta nwere ohere mezie meghenwe ụzọ unu ka ebe na unu nwere ike isobata kpaa nkata. Maybe ọwụ na ndị nọ na YouTube no nwere TikTok and you want to join the conversation, live conversation, maybe you can switch over to TikTok. But other than that, you are going to be participating by typing and by listening to other people's conversation. All right. Igbo onye nne, Igbo onye nna, are you a father? Are you a mother? Are you Igbo? You living outside of Igbo land? How are you planning to train your child, your children, so that those kids will grow speaking Igbo? What is the setting? Okay, let me see. All right. Okay, Ikenna gani ugbu. I didn't see that coming. Okay. Right. So, Maazị Ikenna, daalụ dịka ị na-abata, Chukwu gọzie gị. Right. So I do want to have as many people on this stage as are willing to involve in this conversation. But just so you know, today what I want us to do is request coming here, and if the topic I have started is not what you want to talk about, you just want to talk about anything that is Igbo, please come in. There are guidelines, there are rules. Do not raise any topic that does not concern Igbo. If you want to do religion, culture, politics, whatever, yes. It is not compulsory that I am able to answer all your questions. There are areas you might raise questions I may not be either comfortable to answer you or even be knowledgeable enough to answer you. But I will do my best, best possible to, answer questions as they come and then possibly engage in such conversations, right? So the door is open for everybody and anybody who wishes to partake in today's conversation, right? Maazị Ikenna daalụ kedu.
Ndewo onye nkuzi.
Ndewo nna m, ndị ụlọ gị kwanụ.
Ihe na-eme na-amasị anyị maka na ịkwado asụsụ na omenala mara mma. Achọrọ maka njụọ ịma na onwe ihe a na-akpọ na English reading, reading or book club or something. Ebe a na-eme nwere ike weta akwụkwọ, agụ some part of it, some part of the akwụkwọ. So ụdị ife a nwekwa ike ịma mma especially ọkachasị akwụkwọ ndị Igbo ife dịka ụfọdụ ndị akwụkwọ a ndị otu ife dịka Chinua Achebe akwụkwọ ndamọ ife na ụfọdụ akwụkwọ ọtụtụ ndị mmadụ gụchara oge ha nọ na sekọndịrị so ọ ya bụkwa ihe mmadụ mma maka enwegasị akwụkwọ ife dịka isi akwụkwọ dara n'ala ụkwara oge ya ọda ọtụtụ akwụkwọ ndị edegasị n'Igbo akwụkwọ Igbo ihe mekwa ka pepụ chetakwa ihe ndị edegasịrị n'akwụkwọ afọ ndị akwụkwọ ndị a bụ ihe dịka ndị otu Tony Obesie ha dere ọ ya amụkọ mma nke okwu daalụ.
Ndewo Maazị Ikenna, ọ bụghị a na-arụ n'ọbara kpughere gị nke ahụ n'ihi na dịka mụ na gị na-ekwu ebe a azụgo m ụfọdụ n'ime akwụkwọ ndị anyị kpọrọ aha ụkwara oge ya isi akwụkwọ dara n'ala akwụkwọ ndị a ma abụ ma ihe niile ndị ha nọcha ya enwere ndị nke m ka na-achọ inweta otebeghị m kwụrụ ụgwọ ya ha ga-ezitere m ya mgbe na-adịghị anya ana m eche ndị ahụ mana o so na ihe anyị na-ahazi atụmatụ anyị na-ahazi dịka ihe anyị ga na-ewebata na nkụzi ebe a ana m ada emebu ya mana ọ bụrụ na oke ịbatabeghị m nkụzi ma mgbe ahụ ana m ada akụzi ụzọ ihe abụọ n'izu nke mbụ bụ nke a m na-akụzi ebe a nke abụọ bụ nke m na-akụziri ụmụ akwụkwọ ndị nọ n'obodo ebe mụnwa bi ụmụafọ Igbo n'ime nkụzi m na-akụzi bụrụ anyị na-agụ akwụkwọ o nwere akwụkwọ anyị na-agụ nke anyị na-agụchabeghị ya bụ na anyị na-esoro ụkpụrụ ụlọ akwụkwọ ha nke bụ na ha gaa ezumike anyị soro ha gaa ezumike so ruo ugbu a ha nọ ezumike wee nkwụsị nkụzi n'ihi na anyị chọrọ ka ha gaa ezumike a ha na-aga bụ ijizi kwado maka ihe omume ndị anyị na-ada eme wee nkwụsịzi ịkụzi asụsụ wee malitezie ime ihe mmepụta anyị na-agba egwu na-eme egwuregwu na ihe ndị ọzọ nke ahụ ka anyị mere iji mee emume anyị mere nke bụ Igbo Cultural Festival nke gara aga n'oge dịka n'izu gara aga ya ana m ada ewebatata ya na nkụzi ahụ na nkụzi nke akwa n'onwekwala mgbe m kpọbatara otu onye ụkọchukwu onye bịara kọọrọ anyị maka ọjị mgbe ahụ ana m akụzibu ụzọ atọ Satọde na Mọnde na Sọnde mana ugbu a n'ihi na ihe nwoke na-achụ na ihe na-achụ nwoke oge ada apụtaziri m ibi ebe a ugboro abụọ n'izu ya wụ na ọ ka dị n'uche aga m ewepụtakwu ya ọzọ mgbe na-adịghị anya anyị ga-ebido ịgụ akwụkwọ ebe a azụkwara m akwụkwọ ndị a n'ọnọdụ na ọ ga-abara ndị na-ele JAMB na ule WAEC uru n'ihi na achọrọ m ka ọ bụrụ na ha nwere ike ị na-esonye n'ihe a na-amụ nwee ike agụ akwụkwọ ndị ahụ ebe a enwe ụmụ ajụjụ ndị na-esite na WAEC na JAMB wepụta nke nwere ike inyere ha aka wee zaa ya bụ na ihe ị na-echepụta bara ezigbote uru. Ndewo nna m.
Biko ihe ikwu maka ọjị nkụzi enye n'ọjị masị m nke ukwuu so nsị ka m jụọ nkụzi ya nwenye n'ọjị
ọ dị na YouTube.
Okay.
Ọ dị na YouTube. Isonyego na Omenka Igbo Action Group on Telegram.
Abanyego.
Okay, aga m ezite ebe a.
Daalụ.
Ya, ndewo nna m. Ya, aga m ezite ebe a. Ugbu a aga m achọ ka itinye ọnụ na isiokwu nke m ji bido nkata nke ụbọchị taa Ikenna. Ihe gbasara ọrụ nwanne anyị nwanyị Nkiri Igbo na-arụ maka ịzụlite nwata n'oge dịka o ji aka ya na-eme ya ọ naghị akọrọ ihe ndị ọcha kọrọ ịma ụfọdụ n'ime anyị ihe anyị dị mma ya bụ ịkọ ihe ndị bekee na-akpọ theory, theoretical framework. Mana nke a bụ nke a na-ekwu ekwu a na-eme eme. Kedu ihe ị chere na ụzọ a nwanne anyị nwaanyị si akụziri nwa ya Igbo?
Ihe ọ na-eme mara mma nke ukwuu, maka na asụsụ enwere ife dịka asụsụ dị mkpa. Ị na-anya ịfụ na obodo ndị niile aka siri ike na-eme ọfụma jidesiri asụsụ fa ike, bido na China, Italy, Germany, kọwa ha, maka ihe nọ n'asụsụ bụ ihe buru ibu nke ukwuu. And ndị ọkamma n'asụsụ na nghọta na-ekwukwa na ọ bụ na ụmụaka mmalụ otu esi asụ asụsụ ha, ọ bụrụ ihe etinyekwa na mmụta nye asụsụ na mmụta, na ọ na-enyere aka. Maka ịbịa na be anyị n'ọtụtụ mpaghara dị iche iche n'Afrịka, ịfụ na ụmụaka na-eme a na-akụziri ha ife, ibugodo ụzọ kụzie ya n'asụsụ oyibo tupu ha wee bịa chebezie ihe ọ bụ wee tụgharịa ya na asụsụ Igbo. Ịbịa n'anya ịfụ na ọ dịghị otu o kwesịrị isi dị, na ọ ka mma na mmụta a na-amụta ya n'asụsụ Igbo. Asụsụ bụ asụsụ nke obodo. Ihe ọzọ nchekwala ikwu bụ ezigbo ife na ife a na-eme ihe na-eme ebe a bụ na platfọm nke ebe a na-ewepụtara anyị opportunity iji wee sụọ Igbo. Ịbịa n'anya ịfụ na ọtụtụ ndị be anyị ọwụ na ha na-akparịta ụka etu ụmụ nwanne ha, nne ha na ndị enyi ha, ọtụtụ anaghị asụnwu Igbo. Asụgodo Igbo, ifu na Igbo a na-asụ bụ ife dịka etinye na percentage, nwere ike ọ bụrụ ife dịka 10%, 15%. Na ka anyị na-eme ya asụsụ Igbo ana mana na ebe anụnwa na platfọm gị ị na-ewepụta opportunity maka Igbo ịnọ na-asụlite Igbo, na-akwalite asụsụ Igbo. Ihe ọzọkwa ya amakwa mma ma enwekwa ike ime otu ikwuo oge gara aga, anyị ghọtara na ị na-akpọtakwa ndị mmadụ ndị ma maka asụsụ Igbo, ndị ọkammụta n'asụsụ Igbo ga-abịanye nkụzi. So nke a bụkwa ihe dị mma, maka enwe ụfọdụ ndị dịgasị iche iche anyị na-afụ bụ ndị ọkammụta ma ndị ma maka asụsụ Igbo na omenala. So ya bụ na enweghị ike ịbịakwa oge ụfọdụ denye anyị nkụzi n'ife dịka ife ndị dịkwa ka ma ihe ndị dịka ọjị na ihe ndị ọzọ. Ọ bụkwa ihe ya amasị ọtụtụ ndị mmadụ.
Ndewo Ikenna, biko ọwụ na ị nọ ebe a ị nwere mmasị itinye ọnụ n'okwu a na-ekwu, mee ka m mara site na izitere m ozi si nabata m. For those of you that understand less of Igbo, when you come, if you want to speak in English, please speak in English, okay? Thank you, Lewuga. I really appreciate you, because right now you are still in this class giving gifts, hurting me and, supporting the class, even when you are, where you have limited understanding of Igbo language. God bless you. This should be an encouragement to all Igbo speakers. The person named Lewuga George is not a native Igbo speaker from her introduction here the last time, but she has interest in coming to this class. You all should learn from her, and I would appreciate if you can follow her and encourage her for being a very positive part of this class. Right. Maazị Ikenna na-enye nkọwa na ọ dị mkpa ka anyị nwee ike na-ewebatakwa ndị ga-akụzi ihe ebe a. Yes, nke a bụ eziokwu Maazị Ikenna. Enwekwala mgbe na-eme ya mana mgbe m na-eme enwebu TikTok account anyị ji na-eme ihe a nke bịara too TikTok abịa kpaa agwa ha wee mee kwụsị anyị ime live n'ihi na o nwere live m mere ọ bụrụ na ụmụazị ndị m na-akụziri ihe pụtara na vidio ihe ha ka m chere na ihe ha ji kwụsị anyị ime live. They barred us from live till as not 2030. The account is several thousands of likes and followers and all of them. So TikTok barred it, and I created this new account, and then I separated my works because that account was a combination of my other language research work and Igbo. So, but anyway, it gave us an opportunity to separate that and for Omenka Igbo Literacy Project, and then that's what we've been doing. So that account, I used to invite, language activists and language researchers and, teachers to speak on issues on language, and then mostly related to Igbo. Ugbu Obinna na Ikenna na-ekwu anyị ga-ebidokwa ya ọzọ mana ihe ọzọ bụ na enwekwala mgbe m metụrụ otu nwanne anyị nwaanyị na-akụzi ihe na TikTok aka si ya biko ka o nwere ike ịbịa ka onye tụ nkụzi na ụbọchị m na-akụzi ihe ruo ugbu a enwe ọsịsa m nwetara ụfọdụ ndị mmadụ anaghị eji ike anabata ụdị ozi ahụ maọbụ amaghị maọbụ enweghị mmasị maọbụ mpako maọbụ ihe ha na-eme bụ ka a na-emegodu mana echere m na ọ bụ na mụnwa onye nabatara ụdị ozi ahụ aga m asagodu wee mara ma ọwụ ihe m ga-achọ ka m mee mana aga m agba mbọ. Ihe ọzọ bụ na ọ bụrụ na ị na-ebe a bụrụ onye maara Igbo bụ ezigbote nwa afọ Igbo ị ga-achọ isonye na ihe anyị na-eme ebe a site n'ịbịa nye nkụzi maọbụ nye kpaa nkata ụfọdụ ihe ndị anyị nwere ike ị na-eme maọbụ otu o si masị gị ihe ọbụla bụ isiokwu ị ga-achọ ka ị kụzie anyị ga-enye gị ohere mee ka mara biko ọ ga-adị mkpa ka anyị mee nke ahụ. All right, so that is the conversation that we are looking into. It is about what to do, some of the things we can achieve if we work together and objectively towards the promotion of Igbo language. I'm making a promise. I will incorporate reading of books in the class. I will also look into inviting other teachers, seasoned Igbo teachers. The other problem I have had also is some people I thought I have, that I was going to bring in to teach. Because of the Nigerian situation, data, electricity, battery, and all of those stuff, they're not able to join TikTok. They're not able to come live. They're not able to stay like 1 hour or even 2 hours that a class lasts. So this is on the technical aspect of it. But I am saying it, and I'm, saying it in English so that all and sundry will understand. If you have interest, you have a great knowledge about Igbo language, Igbo culture, and any part of Igbo that you would like to share with us by way of teaching, we would be happy to have you. Thank you, Lewoga. God bless you. Please follow Lewoga and please interact with her. She is a huge lover of Igbo. All right. Ọ bụrụ na ị nwere mmasị ịbata isonye na nkata anyị na-akpa ebe a, biko gbaanụ mbọ mee ka mara. Send me a request, I will invite you. Mụ na Maazị Ikenna na ebe a, onye na-abịa nkụzi a kwa ụbọchị. And kamgbe o sonyere, ana m ahụ aka ya ihe ndị ọ na-eme. Unu sorokwa Maazị Ikenna n'ihi na ọ bụ ezigbote nwa afọ Igbo ghere eghe, onye ihe gbasara Igbo, ọganihu Igbo na-adị mma. Ndị YouTube, right, I would like for you to be part of the conversation by chat. kedu ihe unu chere n'isiokwu nke anyị na-ekwu maka ya? What do you think about raising your child from age 1 or less or 2, making sure that the child speaks Igbo? And I asked a question. Ị bụ nwa afọ Igbo bi na obodo ndị ọzọ? Ị bụ nwa afọ Igbo na-amụ nwa ugbu a, ma ọ bụ na ị na-akwado ịmụ nwa, ịlụọla, ịlụrụ di ma ịlụrụ nwaanyị, nke ọ bụla ọ bụ, nwa bụ ihe ọzọ a na-ele anya ga-esonye. Kedu ka ị ga-esi azụlite nwa gị hụ na nwa ahụ toro na-asụ Igbo? Kedu? Cross nwanne m nwoke, daalụ. O Cross, aga m achọ ka ị gbagote ebe a. Ọ bụrụ na ohere dịrị gị gbagote, mee ka m mara, zitere m ozi ka m wee nabata gị. Amara m na ụfọdụ n'ime unu ndị na-esonye nọ n'ọrụ. Ọ bụ ihe I know that one. Yeah, ọ ihe na-enyetụ nsogbu n'oge anyị na-eje eme ihe ọmụmụ a ma ọ bụ mkparịta ụka. Ọ bụ n'ihi na ụfọdụ n'ime unu nọ n'ọrụ, mana enweghị ọtụtụ ihe anyị nwere ike ime iji gbanwee ya. The other thing will be, maybe we could look at having a conversation like this later in the day. But the trick about it is that for those of you living abroad, your time is different from those living in Nigeria. So if you have a conversation later in the evening, maybe those in Nigeria would automatically be asleep. But we can also work on some kind of, compromise. All right. Maazị Ikenna, gaa n'ihu. Kedu ihe ọzọ na-abata gị n'uche gbasara Igbo, ndị Igbo, asụsụ Igbo, omenala Igbo? Ndewo.
Maka asụsụ, ndị nne na nna nọ ha na ụmụaka ha nọ, ọ dị mkpa, ọ bụ ife dị mkpa rinne na-akụziri ha otu esi asụ Igbo, na-asụ Igbo n'ọnụ. Ọ bụ eziokwu na n'obodo oyibo o nwere ike ifi arụ maka na a na-asụ oyibo n'obodo oyibo, mana abịa n'asụsụ, ọ dị mma na anyị mụta n'aka ndị Yoruba, ndị ofe mmanụ, maka na ndị ofe mmanụ anaghị eji asụsụ fa ekwu okwu. Ọtụtụ n'ime ha n'ụlọ na-asụ asụsụ fa, ha na-asụ ya ọfụma, na-asụ ya na-ede ya ede. Mana ọtụtụ anyị nwa bụ ndị Igbo anaghị emetacha ya n'ihe gbasara asụsụ. Ife ọzọ anyị ga-amata bụ na ohere ịkụziri ụmụaka otu esi asụ Igbo bụ ohere anaghị adị oge niile. Ọ bụ na ụmụaka ahụ tonitecha ọfịazie arụ. Ife ọzọ na-emekwa bụ na anyị ga-ebu n'uche na onye si n'Afrịka ma na Naịjirịa wee pụta, amago na ọ pụtago bụ otu esi asụ ya n'oyibo, asị nọ na root, na ọ pụtatugo na root in quote root ya. So na ihe onye ahụ nweziri ike iji wee zọta onwe ya ma zọta ndị be ya bụ isoro ha Igbo na ihe dịka isiri ha n'Igbo na omenala Igbo, ịkụzi ife omenala Igbo. So ihe ndị a dị mma. Ife ọzọkwa bụ na ọ bụrụ na nne na nna akụzirila ụmụaka asụsụ Igbo na omenala ma nne Igbo, ife ndị anụma, ụmụaka ahụ mechaa oge ha toro, many of them onye ewute ha, maka ọ bụ na emechaa onye ọbụla ya achọ ka ọ nachi ya na ebe osi nke a na-akpọ root. People want to go back to their root. So ụmụaka na-eme emechaa owutebe ha, ọtụtụ n'ime ha ga-achọ ka ha nụkwa ndị bụ ndị Igbo, achọ ka ha na-asụ asụsụ ndị Igbo, ya na-anụzi ebe ha ya na-ekwu okwu, a na-asị na nne ha na nna ha akụzirila ha otu esi asụ. So na ọ dị mma na nne na nna gbani, ọkachasị ebe ụmụaka ntakịrị nọ, kụziwere ha asụsụ Igbo. Ọ bụ ife dị mkpa rinne. Ndewo.
Ndewonna. Nwado Ogechi say, I would ensure to educate both formally and informally. One must not know all, but being rooted in the basics will go a long way. Nke a bụ nke sitere n'aka Nwada Ogechi. O nwere ihe Maazị Ikenna kwutere nke m chọrọ iso tinye ọnụ, nke bụ nke mbụ. Ọ sị na ọ bụrụ na ịkụziri ụmụazị gị, ha ọ gaghị ete aka ha eto, ha too ọ ga-enyezi nsogbu, n'ihi ha tozikwa ha jụwazie gị ajụjụ ihe gbasara kedu ihe mere na anyị amaghị asụsụ anyị asụ, n'ihi na emecha ndị Igbo si agbacha ọsọ agụọ mile, akụfecha ọ dara awọ. A na-enwe oge ngụcha, oge ngụkọ rather. Lewuga says it's important to expose your child to the Igbo language for future purposes. Thank you, Lewuga. Future and now, they are all important. But what you are pointing out is also what Mazi Ikenna, said, which I am reiterating. Me mo sorogi, mo soigi, ụmụazị ahụ na-amụ na mba bụ ụmụafọ Igbo. Mana ebe ị nọ na-eme ka ihe siere ha ike na ndụ bụ na ịhapụ ha, ịkụziri ha Igbo, igosi ha ụzọ ịsụ asụsụ ha, ịkwadoghị ha ka ha wee bido ịsụ Igbo n'oge. Ị na-azụ ụmụazị ihe kọrọ. And I just want to say this in English so get everybody along. I just want to let you know that parents who experience this, parents whose experience is what we are talking about today, that their children don't speak Igbo, all of them, with the exception of none, lives in. Whenever you raise this topic like we're raising now, it's difficult for parents of my age and above to partake in that conversation. Why? They are hiding behind the shadows of their mistakes. Ọtụtụ ndị nne na nna, ndị ọgbọ m na ndị tọrọ m gawa n'ihu, ọtụtụ n'ime ha enweghị ike iso na nkata anyị na-akpa, n'ihi na ihere na-ekpuchi ha ihu. Ha amaghị ka enwere ike isi gbanwee ihe ha mere. Enweghị ike iweghachi aka elekere azụ, n'ihi na ọ dịgo n'azụ oge agaala. Learning the Igbo languages helps them to enjoy and contribute to the cultural privileges. Absolutely yes. Ya bụ na ihe anyị na-akọwa wee bụrụ, Igbo onye nne na maọbụ nna ka na-amụ nwa maọbụ na-achọ ịmụ nwa, ịnọ n'obodo na-abụghị Igbo, o wee dị gị ka ihe nwa gị kwesịrị ka ọ sụọ na ndụ ya bụ Bekee maọbụ asụsụ ndị ọzọ. Ị na-egbu nwa gị ahụ egbu, ị na-etinye n'ọnọdụ ihere, nke ihere ahụ ga na-eme ya ruo na ndụ ya niile. Mana agafee ebe nwa gị ahụ nọ, ịbụ onye a ga-akpọpụta wee gwa gị n'eziokwu eziokwu na iso egbu asụsụ Igbo, n'agbanyeghị ka isi yiri isi agụ ugboro ihe ma iyi isi agụ gị wee rahụ ụra, yiri okpu ọbara gị wee gaa ihe ụra, tete rie nri, ihe ọ sọrọ gị mee iji gosi na ịbụ nwa afọ Igbo. Ya bụrụ na ịzụlitere ụmụ gị ha amaghị Igbo asụ, iso na ndị na-achọ ka Igbo nwụọ bee. Enweghị ụzọ ọzọ enwere ike iji kọwaa ya na mmadụ na-egosi na mmadụ tozuru oke ịbụ onye Chukwu kere ya ka ọ bụrụ, na-abụghị na asụsụ so ya. There's no other way you can explain the fact that the person is representing that identity that God gave them, without talking about a person's ability to speak fluently their language of cultural identity. enweghị izu ọzọ. N'izu gara aga o nwere nwa mụ na ya kwuru okwu, nwa afọ Igbo, nna ya bụ onye ama ama na ihe gbasara Igbo. Ọ bụ onye ji ọkwa n'otu Igbo, otu ị nwere ike ịkpọ socio-cultural group or socio-cultural platform of Igbo. Mana ọ kpọnyere ofu nwa ya ka o kwuoro m n'ihi na nwa ya nwere mmasị iso ya n'ihe ọmụmụ a, nwekwa mmasị nweta omenka app iji mara ma ọ ga-amụta Igbo. Mgbe mụ na nwa ahụ na-ekwu, ọ dị 37. Ihe mbụ o kwuru wutere mbụ na ọ sị na n'ihe ya makwa n'ebe ya na madebekwara bụ kedu ọ dị mma, daalụ, ndewo, ịbọọlachi, kachifo, ọgwụla. I got goose pimples. Not that I do not know that there are so many of Igbo sons and daughters like that, but I was speaking to one, and I also was speaking to one whose father and mother I know very well. And I was asking myself many questions. Now, who do us? Who do us? Kedu ihe anyị ji aka anyị metere onwe anyị? Dịka anyị na-akụzi m ka akụziri isiokwu nke m malitere izu gara aga, nke anyị ga-aga n'ihu ịkụzi na izu na-abịa abịa. Ihe otu n'ime ihe ise na-egbu Igbo, na-achọ ka Igbo nwụọ pịị, wee bụrụ mmadụ ekweghị ekwe ịnabata ntụziaka ma ọ bụrụ na o dejọọ Igbo. Nke ahụ na-emetụkwa aka ruo na mmadụ enweghị nchegharị n'ọnọdụ ọ bụrụ na ịtụọ ya mmehie n'anya, sị ịkpara agwa ọjọọ, imezighị ya, imeteghị ya. Ọ bụrụ na ị zụrụ ụmụazị ndị a niile, imeghị ka ha nwee mmasị n'asụsụ ha, you did wrong. Some people get offended when you confront them this way. Ọ bụ ihe jọgburu onwe ya. N'ihi na hiding behind your shadows cannot help. It cannot change the situation you put your children. Those children cannot stand boldly in the midst of their kinspeople to speak. Those children will continue throughout their lives to hide away from their real identity. Those children will not be completely educated. It doesn't matter what the level of education that they had, because they have a lack that is obviously biting them every day. They wake up, but they don't know how to, they don't know what to, they don't know how to get out of it, except they take a very decisive journey that they are willing to see to the end of it, which is the opportunity we are creating here using this class. Ebe a ihe m na-abịa ebe a ọtụtụ mgbe ịba mba. Ụfọdụ mgbe mbacha mba olu atachi m. Mba ahụ m na-aba abụghị na enweghị m ọrụ, enweghị m ihe ọzọ m nwere ike ime. Mba. Na ọ bụ na amaara m mkpa ọ dị na ọ bụrụ na enweghị ndị wepụtara olu na-eti mkpu dịka anyị na-ahụ, anyị gụrụ na Baịbụl na John the Baptist were onwe ya wega n'ime ọhịa ebe a na-abịa etiri ndị obodo mkpu na-asị ha dozie n'ụzọ Onyenwe anyị. Ọ bụrụ na enweghị ndị wepụtara onwe ha na-eti mkpu, na-adọ aka na ntị, na-akwa, na-ebe, asụsụ Igbo alaala. Mụ na gị abụọ anyị apụọla na map. It doesn't matter how much English you speak. The painful part of it is that Igbo is not an insignificant ethnic group. It's not an insignificant community. It is not, in fact, Igbo is one of the most talked about people on earth today. Be it politics, be it education, anything, Igbo people are one of the most talked about in the media and everywhere. Today, Wadogechi will say, also, one should allow school to be school and home to be home. It should carry an aura of who you are, language, character, etc. Allowing school to be school and allowing Igbo home to be home is to ensure that if your child are going to school to learn English, they should come back home to their basis, which is Igbo. Ọtụtụ n'ime anyị gụrụ akwụkwọ kwuruo na asụsụ anyị bụ ihe na-enweghị ihe anyị ji ekpọrọ. Mana nke na-aka enye nsogbu bụ na ọtụtụ n'ime anyị EM ọ gịnị bụ aha gị? Eche m na-achọ ka anabata gị ebe a. Ọtụtụ n'ime anyị ndị na-agụ ya agụ sorokwa na ndị ha meghe ọnụ ntaghịrị ọnụ ka ha nọ n'ime ya sị na a na-asụ bekee. O nwere ndị nke na-asụ ya bụrụ pidgin naanị ka a na-akụziri ụmụazị, ndị nke bi na Lagoon steeti bụ Lagos, na ndị nke bi na Parakọt m na-arụta aka ebe a, ruo na ndị nke bi na kedu aha ya, ruo na ndị nke bi n'ugwu Hausa, Abuja ha na Kaduna ha na Sokoto. Ndị a niile socha na ndị asị ha nọ n'ozi bekee, ha anaghị asụ, ụmụ ha anaghị anụ Igbo. Jehova. Some will say, yeah, I can hear, but I cannot speak. I can hear. Not really hear. And that's why I can understand, but I cannot speak. How long are we going to be in this mess? Ụmụafọ Igbo. Ya ka anyị na-ajụ n'ụbọchị taa, ya ka anyị na-eme dịka mkparịta ụka, ya ka anyị ji ọrụ nwanne anyị nwaanyị na-arụ na TikTok ji na-emere okwu na-ekwu okwu ebe a. Kedu ka ọ ga-adị gị na ị mụtara nwa gị, iwe na-azụlite nwa n'ime ụlọ nke gị n'usekwu gị, nne na-asụrụ ya bekee, nna na-asụrụ ya bekee, ya pụkwa n'ama ya na ndị ọyị ya na-asụ bekee? Why? How much joy does it bring to you? How are you happy about this? Kedu obi ụtọ ị na-enweta na nwa gị na gị enweghị ike ikwu okwu n'asụsụ unu wee kwuruo ya ala, na gị na nwa gị pụọ n'ama unu enweghị ike ịgba izu? Kedu ka ọ ga-adị? Kedu ka o si atọ gị na gị na nwa gị agaghị agbanwe izu? Ọ bụrụ ndị lụrụ ndị ama, ndị lụrụ ndị ọcha maọbụ ndị obodo ọzọ, okay, enwere ike isi enwe ha ngọpụ. Basically, there's a foreign person in the family and there's not going to be a unanimous effort in raising the children. Maybe the wife is a foreigner and she cannot speak the language, neither teach the children. Yet, we have seen men who married to foreigners who took it upon themselves to raise their children in their language.
Continue ọnụ n'ife na-ekwu ife ikwuru amaka. Anyị asịdụ na ọ bụrụ na enwere ikike na ekwesịrị itinye ihe ndị Igbo na-akpọ state of emergency na asụsụ Igbo. Ọ bụ na enwere ikike ime, maka ọ bụrụ na ịbịa n'anya n'ife dịka afọ 10 ma afọ 12 gara aga, na ndị be anyị si na mba Afrịka ma ọ bụ na Naịjirịa wepụta gawa mba ofesi, ifu na enwe ọtụtụ mmadụ pụta anụ wee bịa na mba ofesi, sikwa bịa n'anya na ụmụaka amụrụ, ụmụaka ndị a niile, ịbịajuo onwe gị, ụmụaka ndị a niile ndị si na be anyị na Naịjirịa wee bịa nwụchalụ, one n'ime ha ma asụ Igbo, one n'ime ha na-anụ Igbo, one n'ime ha ma esi nri ndị Igbo. Ịbịajuo onwe gị ajụjụ esi na ọ bụrụ na aga na ihe ndị Igbo na-akpọ next generation, ọ bụrụ na ndị nka mụta nwa, ọ bụrụ na onweghị ihe ha ma maka asụsụ Igbo na omenala Igbo na ife ndị Igbo, kedu ihe ha ga-akụziri ụmụaka ha? Ihe ọ pụtara bụ na ha ruo oge ha ga-amụta ụmụaka, mụtasị ụmụaka, ndị anwa mezenite ga-egosi, omenwezi ihe ga-egosi na ha bụ ndị Igbo. Ihe ọ pụtara. Ọ ọbabọrọ ife dị mma ma ncha.
Yes. 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 Maazị Ikenna na-emetụ aka ebe a ga-asị na ụmị ya na ọkpụkpụ ya ka anyị na-ekwu okwu ya. When we talk about, when we really talk about, oh, some people say, how can Igbo language die? Dịka UNESCO na-akọwa na amụma ha bụrụ, ụfọdụ wee na-agba agụgọ n'elu ya, na-esi agụgọ, na-esi arụmarụ. It is as simple as Maazị Ikenna kọwara. Otu a ka ọ dị, o ghere oghe. Igbo wee sị na ihe agba n'aka anaghị eji enyo ele ya, dịka mgbe elekere a n'aka nchi ile ya mewere enyo. Ọ naghị eme anaghị eji enyo ele ya. N'aka nke ọzọ Igbo wee sị na ihe a na-eji agba na ntị anaghị eji ya agba n'anya. Onye ntị na-akọ ọkụ ugbu a, ya ọ ga were nke ihe ndị bekee na-akpọ cotton bud, ga-eji nke na-eji abụba ọkụkọ etinye na-eme nkụ ọ na-atọ ha dịka nga nwatakịrị na-amị ara nne ya. Ihe ahụ ị na-eji agba na ntị ị nwere ike nọkacha gị etinye n'anya ọ gaghị aga. Mana ọ ihe anyị na-eme na korokoro ehihie, anyị ji ihe ahụ ji agba na ntị agba n'anya. Ịbụrụ onye nne na-ebe a, ịbụrụ onye nna na-ebe a, nwa gị anaghị asụ Igbo. Ọ ihe ahụ ka ị na-eme. It is as simple as the next generation. The next generation is, say today, all of us who are parents, we are no longer here in this world. The people who are at our age and beyond are our children. The question is, if all of our children who are born overseas, who are born outside of Igbo land, millions of Igbo people today, are the ones who are elders in Igbo land, wherever they are, what are they going to teach their own children? When my own child today has gotten children and their children are growing, they cannot teach them Igbo. Tomorrow, I'm no longer here, I'm no longer teaching, I'm no longer persuading them. If you calculate the number of Igbo sons and daughters who are not speaking Igbo today, their parents are old enough, their parents are adult, full-fledged adults. Their parents do not have more than, let's say, 50 years. So in the next 50 years, a new generation of Igbo elders is born. There are no two ways about it. What will happen to the language, the culture, the knowledge to the culture with the new generation of Igbo in the next 50 years? Kedu ihe ga-eme? Ya nwa bụ ajụjụ ma gịnwo ma mụnwa ga na-ajụ onwe anyị mgbe ọbụla. Kedu nke anyị ketere? Nwado Ogechi say, that's how I went to an event and the young boy crowned Igwe can only hear but not speak Igbo. Ndị mmadụ na-agba n'aka. Shame almost wore me agbada. It is pathetic that some of us can go as far as going to take different chieftaincy titles in Igbo. Dịka ajụjụ m na-ajụ, ọ bụrụ na anyị gaa n'ihu n'ụdị agwa dị ụta, kedu ihe mere amụma ndị UNESCO bụrụ agaghị emezu? Who can answer that question? Why on earth will it not come to pass?
Okay, emezu.
Tinyejaranụ.
Oge emezu. O nwere ihe m chọrọ ikwu gbasara mmekọta ndị oyibo na-akpọ collaboration. Ikwute maka. So, ọ dịgo ka ọ ga-adị. Anyị afụgo na n'ife a bụ nnukwu nsogbu n'ele anyị. And mmekọrịta bụ ife dị mkpa rinne. Enwe mmadụ abụọ, ị nwere ike imechaa ịmalụ ma enwere ike izinyere ha ozi. Ofu onye bụ Maazị Ogbonnaya Okoro. Maazị Ogbonnaya Okoro bụ onye gụọ maka asụsụ Igbo, bụrụkwa onye dere ihe ọdịde n'asụsụ Igbo, bụrụ onye asụsụ Igbo na-amasị nke ukwuu. Mana amaghị m ma ọ nọ na TikTok ebe a, mana o nwere ike ọ bụrụ na ọ nọ ya. Onye ọzọkwa bụ Maazị Dibia makwa maka omenala n'asụsụ Igbo ọfụma. So inwe ike maka na mmekọrịta ka na bụ collaboration dị mma, ọ ife dị mma. Maka ọ na-ekwu ya otu a si na-ekwu ya, ụfọdụ ndị mmadụ wee na-aghọta, wee na-esonye n'ihe a na-eme.
Ndewo Ikenna maka ntụpụta izu ịtụpụtara. Maazị Ogbonnaya enwego mgbe m dere ya akwụkwọ ọdụkọ na edere m ya ozi na WhatsApp, n'ihi na mgbe ọ na-akpọtụ na akwụkwọ ya pụtara, anọbụ m n'otu a na-akpọ otu ụwa ndị Igbo. O nwere okwu mmadụ kwuru maka akwụkwọ ya, m wee chọọ ka nnu olu ya site n'ọnụ ya. Let me see, I think I still ofu onye wee nye m mgbe jụọ maka akara ekwentị ya, egbe nye m ya, m dere ya ozi na WhatsApp, mana onwe mgbe ọ sara m ozi ahụ. Ihe m dere ya na achọrọ m inweta akwụkwọ ya. All right, yeah, I'm trying to really get that message, but I can't find it here. So achọrọ m ka nweta akwụkwọ ya. Nke abụọ, achọrọ m ka mụ na ya nwee mkparịta si dee akwụkwọ ya, n'ihi na enwere okwu ofu onye kwuru maka ọrụ. Ewe m nụkwa na ya nọ o nwere ndị ya na-ese emekọrịta bụ ihe na ọ naghị eze eso ha, ịma ọ bịara obodo oyibo na ihe ndị a. So yeah, such people, o nwere ihe m na-eme, eghere m oghe dịka otu ụzọ ghere oghe n'ihe gbasara isi ka emekọrịta ihe. Mụ na ndị na-eme ụdị ihe m na-eme, I have that openness. I have invited Amarachi Atama for us to talk. I also know how the conversation, we had some good conversation. I am ezukokwala n'otu nzukọ, anyị secha foto na ihe ndị a niile, because enwekwara nwa afọ Igbo ọzọ na-emekwa ụdị ihe dịkwa mma na ndị a niile na-emegasị ihe. One of the things I do is to really, really go out there. I believe that my own assignment incorporates gathering Igbo scholars together and Igbo activists for us to really, join forces together. But I also know that everybody has their reservations towards what they do. People also want to protect their stuff. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing I will not release to people is my patent, my intellectual property, okay? Whatever I have created that is registered, I won't kind of release it to people to use. But every other thing that concerns this work is open to anybody who wants to be a part of it and, collaborate or whatever it is. Emecha mee nzukọ nke mkpọrọ ndị niile na-akwalite Igbo na social media. Igbo onye na-eme ihe nkiri, ihe mmepụta n'asụsụ Igbo, na-akụzi Igbo maọbụ ị na-agba egwu Igbo, ịnọ na social media, si ka enwe mkparịta ụka. I created a conference, a virtual conference that we could have. na conference ahụ naanị mkpụrụ mmadụ abụọ bụ ndị si ndị na-amaghị ndị na-abụghị ndị mụ na ha so arụkọ ọrụ batara na conference ahụ. But I guess I got over 15 people who registered to attend. So na-abịa n'ọnọdụ ahụ, aga m asị na otu n'ime ihe na-akpatakwa ya bụ na ịma ụwa taa ihe anyị na-achọ bụ what we call today social media clouds. Onwe ndị ihe ha na-eme, what they enjoy most out of it is because they are influential on social media, which is not, a problem to people like me. I follow, ana m eso otu nwa afọ Igbo na-eme na-akụzi nkụzi na YouTube under the platform a na-akpọ Enoane Cultural Forum, a very seasoned, wonderful teacher. Okay, ihe dịtụ iche n'ihe ọ na-eme na ihe m na-eme bụ na ọ na-ada asụkawa Bekee karịa Igbo. Otu n'ime ihe kpatakwara ya because I have been in his live where people say speak Igbo just like I get here. Okay, otu n'ime ihe kpatara ya bụ his target community is also made up of people, young Igbo sons and daughters who are going through identity crisis. Ihe ọ na-akụzi bụ gbadoro ụkwụ na identity crisis almost every time. Ụmụafọ Igbo ndị na-amaghị ndị ha bụ, ndị na-aghọta onwe ha, ndị na-echefuzi onwe ha, chefuo na ha bụ Igbo, chefuo na agụ anaghị aghọ atụrụ, nwa agụ anaghị akpa aka n'ọdụ anyhow, agwọ anaghị ahapụ ịmụ ihe toro ogologo. Anytime the lion sees that a cub is playing with a lamb, it is said in a proverbial saying that the lion would come and call the cub, say, "Don't you know you are a lion? You are not just a lamb." And that is in the positive that I'm saying it. Ụfọdụ maọbụ ọtụtụ ụmụafọ Igbo taa bụ ndị their identity, their cultural identity is something that they are not proud of. So I do follow him. I also invited him to a conversation. We had a very wonderful talk on phone and everything. I still have in mind that we can do more things together. What I do is to support any such work. Ọ bụrụ na ị na-akụzi asụsụ mgbe mara na ịma ihe ị na-eme, aga m akwado gị. Okay? At the level of collaboration, it is something that takes a while to happen, which I am open to anytime, any day. Otu n'ime ihe anyị na-eme ebe a bụ nke anyị mere n'afọ gara aga, nke anyị na-achọkwa ime n'afọ a bụ nkụzi ọzụzụ. A na-azụ ndị nkụzi na-akụzi Igbo na village, n'ogo primary na n'ogo secondary. Anyị na-akwadokwe nkụzi ahụ ọzọ. Enweela ọtụtụ ụmụafọ Igbo ndị m kwutere maka ya, mana anyị ma ihe na-eme na Naịjirịa ugbu a. Ụfọdụ bụ agụụ, ụfọdụ bụ obi ezughị ike n'ihi ntụrụ mmadụ a na-atụrụ ebe niile, level of insecurity na ihe ndị a. Ụfọdụ bụ enweghị ọkụ. So sometimes people are not really very concentrated on doing meaningful work, towards a meaningful work that is not going to convert into instant revenue. Nke bụ na ndị mmadụ na-achọ ka ọ bụrụ ihe ha mee ugbu a ya pụtara ha ego taa. Ọ bụghị dịka ihe anyị na-eme were oge gị kụzie ihe gachi ike nwe ihe na-akwụ ụgwọ and all of that. So that is another spare to it. Mana ile anya ihe ndị a niile bụ ihe ndị na-ejikọta aka na-ahụ na anyị agaghị enwere onwe anyị n'ọnọdụ ịhụ ụzọ kụziere ụmụazị anyị Igbo, mee ka ihe anyị mụtara anyị natara n'aka ndị nne na nna anyị bụrụ nke anyị ga-enyefenwu ha n'aka Igbo wee na-aga n'ihu na-adị. Only God knows what is going to happen to the Igbo race in the next generation if we stop crying, if we stop screaming, if we stop doing what we're doing today. Ihe ọzọ m na-achọ ịrụtụ aka n'ihe ikwuru Maazị Ikenna bụ mgbe m na-akụzi ihe ebe a m na-ekwu maka Omenka Igbo Action Group, ihe anyị bụ n'uche na ya bụ ọ bụrụ na anyị kpọkọta nwuo ọtụtụ ụmụafọ Igbo n'ime otu ahụ, anyị nwere ike ịnọ ebe ahụ kpaa nkata ụzọ ihe ndị anyị nwere ike ime, ọ bụ iji ụkwụ ma ọ bụ idega akwụkwọ. Dịka m rụtụrụ anyị aka n'oge gara aga n'ihe m na-akụzi, o nwere otu a na-akpọ otu Sụbakwa Igbo nke anyị na ha na-emekọrịta ihe. Otu a na-agba mbọ taa ịgakwuche gọọmenti Anambra steeti na-arịọ ha si biko ị nwere ike ịgbanwere anyị aha anyị niile ndị ọcha akpọ eriri a na-ede eri taa dịka ọka, kama a ga-ede ya ọka a na-ede ya AWKA, dịka ọkụ naanị, dịka Anambra, Ọnịsha, Enugu, aha ndị a niile ndị ọcha deeri wee bụrụ ihe anyị ka na-aza ruo echi. Otu a na-agba mbọ na-agakwuje gọọmenti chọọ ka agbanwee aha ndị a ka enwe ike na-edezi ya n'Igbo. Ihe ndị dị otu a bụ ihe magburu onwe ya. Otu ahụ dịka m matara ha, ewee m degakwara ha akwụkwọ, ha wee nabata mmekọrịta ihe anyị na ha na-emekọrịta ihe taa. That is what every Igbo activist group should do. But then I believe in starting small. I believe within us. If we all who come to this class, who are here today, who hear me, have the willingness is what bereaves us. We do not have the willingness. If we have the willingness to say, yes, I'm going to intentionally be part of this movement, you will remember to do something. Were ya n'ọmụmaatụ dịka taa anyị na-ewepụta ụbọchị taa iji kpaa nkata. Ọtụtụ n'ime ndị na-abịa nkụzi ebe a na ahụ ya sị, can you bring out a day we have a conversation? Yes, I started doing it. But most of the days, I find that one or two persons have always joined the conversation. I know that, yes, this is active time for people who are living overseas, but there are those who are living in Nigeria. This is not active time for you. Many times we come here, we want to have conversation. One, two people, they will join. Others will still stay behind. Not because they don't know what to say, how to contribute to, the conversation. Willingness. The willingness we have to some extent is zero. To some people's on one. Egechekwa ya, abịakwa ụlọ ụka, egechekwa ya, ala. Continue
to the apathy, lack of interest, even that question prediction UNESCO about IGBO, could happen.
Yes.
Maybe even sooner than they projected.
Yes.
So if I need the old guard or the old generation, if I take a man to if I those people, FC or
yeah,
all those people, many of them they may go for down. So now the challenge now with the new generation, a new generation of Ndebo experts or scholars now. Some of these people you mentioned, Alafa, people personally, when I see their works, and the new generation now, they have to understand that they have a big responsibility, to salvage and promote Igbo language, and they have to do away with individualism. Mana obuno ife actually spearhead. It means that a project that has to be strategic. And because strategic ibona, mana ewepụta ihe a na-eme obere ife onye ọbụla. Ndị Igbo bụ ndị na-eche ucheri, ndị Igbo bịa n'ihe a na-eme, ndị Igbo na-aga etinye anya n'ihe a na-eme, ọ bụ na ihe a na-eme bụ ife ọra. Mana ọ bụ na a project na-abịa in form of like a personal project. Some of them were doubt for the feel maybe actually use our website or his own project, that kind of thing. But we need to look beyond that and look at the bigger picture. And if any like for example, can you example example, in a little things like in social media communication, get I figure you move from a dead to voice conversation, to voice in keta. You know, people feel more involved. Mana talker, and for the person.
Yeah.
Now, some of these scholars, the newer scholars, needed to move from here dead. But I hear the either on YouTube or on TikTok. So, if I build a collaboration, one with you can also give referral. Water. Nekwana Mazuko broadcast here on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Even go and work on quality journeys on broadcast sometimes. Water. So now we are sometimes a journal in cake. Opona Atama when broadcasting here, sometimes a journal and abankatana to because we need to have the mindset to understand that there is no alternative to collaboration. No more such alternative. When we hear somebody Jew, be fine weapon do G, was it Malana, Cheucha Makia, the person Naju, Nandoja Kedi Hebo, percentage in Dutch and the whole world. But look at, how much influence and power that they have. If we are because of cooperation, or collaboration, Mana, I'm a Bundoji, and I share any method, Mana, I believe if we are strategic about it, if you meet him, madam, like what I mentioned before, a lot of people here with this doubt, who use Oya Build or his own word or is this thing. And some of them believe him now when they see that if I am common good, and strategic about it and creative, I believe that on a hear the results.
There one and thank you for the truthfulness you bring out in your conversation. Because I'm extending the invitation again. If you think you have a say in the matter, even nwa afọ Igbo, enwere ihe ị nwere ikwu, enwere uche ị ga-atụnyenwu, send a request. I would like to invite you to the conversation. Maazị Ikenna bụ nwa afọ Igbo dịka unu niile. He's not more Igbo than any one of you. So making out the time and coming here and we're having this conversation is so useful. Ndị nọ na YouTube that are following it. And so somebody said ihe na-ekwu dị mkpa. So I thank God that we are having this conversation. Yes, aga m asa ihe gbasara uche ndị mmadụ na-eche. I have experienced that in so many different ways, trying to work with people or bring people to see the need to work together. Yes, and when I'm say, I have the willingness, I have the intention to spearhead such a call that will gather all Igbo scholars and activists to, under a common umbrella to work together. One of the reasons I have the willingness to do that is to prove the world wrong that Igbo people can work together. I know that Ejile ihe gbasara individualistic mindset marai, that everybody thinks to his pocket. Well, yes, people say that, but I do not believe that. To me, I think some people do. Okay. Lewuga, fine. It is not, like I said, if you have interest, you can speak English. So long as I see your willingness, and I really appreciate that. You can speak Igbo, you can speak English, so long as you are interested in being part of the conversation. Right. Ya bụ na ndị ụwa ejirila ihe gbasara onye ọbụla na-emere nke ya, okay, wee mara ndị Igbo. I want to do that to prove them wrong. But the most important reason I want to do that is that somebody has got to do it, okay? Enweghị onye a ga-amụ iche si na ya wụ onye ga-ekpọkọta Igbo ọnụ n'ọnọdụ ịkwado ihe anyị na-achọ ime, right? Somebody has got to do it. All right, Obinna Odogwu. Yeah, inwe ebe bara uru, ebe ga-enye aka anyị ghọta ihe ị na-ekwu. That would be great. We would like to have you on the conversation, okay? You're welcome, Lewoga. I'm going to come to you in a few minutes. I'm giving a rebuttal to what Obinna said. Ikenna said. So, Nodimba, and I'm calling on to your person, Ikenna, Obinna, Odogun, all of these people that have been coming to this class. It begins with that. Even if you are not one of those scholars. Okay, those are all useful. The other thing is that if we do not have a direct contact to some of these people we are looking at, how about we have someone here who has a direct contact who can say, okay, I can link you up with this person, I can talk to this person and all of that. Mana, where I am sitting here today, I know several different Igbo scholars, sorry about that. I know several different Igbo scholars who I say I would have loved for them to come to the consciousness of seeing the need of working together to save and preserve Igbo language and culture. I know several of them, and I have reached out to some of them. There is some level of discomfort when you kind of reach out to people to say, hey, you see people becoming. I woke up 2 days ago. I will finish this and then I will get to you, Lewoga. I woke up 2 days ago. I got 2 messages from unknown person. It was WhatsApp message to my personal phone, not my official phone number. Then before I knew it, I also saw a voice note. And then I saw an email much later from the same person. For the text messages, the person was like that he went to a Menka app, that he found out that the Igbo calendar that we built there was not correct. That he used very strong words, that it should be corrected, that we should not deceive people, blah, blah, blah. But he said much more on his voice notes. His voice note was harsher. His voice note was not being just corrective now or suggestive now, but somewhat an attack to say, if you don't know what you're doing, you get channels or can do my hand and all of that. Then I read his email, the same person, saying that I should give him the data from where I got the calendar and all of this. Now, I started asking myself, is this all necessary? This person would have said, nah, Agaram now, the calendar, the date is not correct, it does not correspond, with the real calendar. But this person says, I didn't save his number, I would have really gotten his message to read part of it. Neabu, kind of native doctor or DB, but he's a young person. Okay, I think I saw that. Yeah. So I read all of what he said, railroads and said. I replied him in Igbo. Ndewo maka nchọpụta, ihe hụtara anyị na-emezi na Omenka app or anyị na-arụ, anyị ga-emezi ya. Then he replied me, Dalo. You know why I did what I did? I wanted to deflect him. Because he was trying to do a good thing, but he went to an extreme in trying to say, hey, there's what we are building in Omenka app is not perfect. In fact, where it is now has so much to be desired. But my joy today is that the new Omenka app is coming very soon. That is going to answer most of the questions people have been asking. I woke up, decided that I'm going to build an app that will stay after us today. Maybe tomorrow, that app, maybe and all other apps that we build about Igbo will be something Igbo children will be holding hands as the only thing Gakusiri Ha Igbo. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say, in effect, we're Borona. Ufodun mado. Now, the too uncomfortable. Maybe Abro Moyena at home mature in mind. I start ranting, exchanging words with him. Why would I do that? So some people get that protection. But you see how one person, 4 different messages over one observation, something that is wrong in Omenka app. He was no longer giving correction. He was now intending to attack. Okay? Wanda Sale, can you mute, please? Wanda Sale, can you hear me? All right. Lewoga, you're welcome. First of all, I would like you to say the correct name because I've been believing I'm trying to get your name correctly. Please, how do you say your name correctly? And tell us about yourself and go ahead with your submission. Thank you.
Yes, sir. My name is Lewoga.
Lewoga.
Yes. I'm based in the US for now. I came here since I was a child. But above all, what really helped me to associate with the Igbo people here in Houston, Texas, is the language and the movies. Over here, the Igbo communities, they're really working hard. They're trying so hard to put themselves together. They have this big building in Georgia, and they put a ballpoint text that is called the Igbo community. They put it on there, and it's on the express road. Once you drive there, you will see it clearly. So all the Igbo travel there for whatever activity that they need to achieve, or any if, for example, if they have an event going on, they travel down there for an important meeting. And they also have over here weekly meeting for all the Igbos. If you like to be part of it, they welcome people from other culture, Yorubas and everyone. And so the Igbo community are massive here in Houston, Texas. They are massive in Dallas. They are massive in other places. But if you really want to know Nigeria and all the Igbos, just come to Texas first. So I'm trying to say that they are improving in their cultural activities and their togetherness. But one thing for sure is that the empowerment of the youth is kind of low. Yeah, the empowerment of the youth. I think the elder ones are trying so hard to contribute, to be more culturable, but they are not influencing the youth. For example, if I approach an Igbo who's a youth, most of them don't understand Igbo. They hear some, but they cannot speak Igbo fluently. So I think that the Igbo community should be strong on their children. There are so many Igbo children here also who are able to speak Igbo very well. They can sing in Igbo well, and I'm just jumping from step to step. I don't want to just go straight to the point. I still want you to know that the Igbo outside Nigeria are really trying so hard. They have their food, the market. There's another market called Southwest Farmers Market. They have all kinds of Igbo food there. They have everything that you need. They have Gary. They have I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm so sorry. We buy the food, we eat it. Everything they sell has some kind of a Igbo name attached to it, so that you will be able to know this is what it is. And we go there and buy. We ask them questions. They interpret. Sometimes you can ask them, how do you make this? They'll tell you. They'll give you the list and everything. Then you go home and cook it. So here in Houston, I'm very, very attached to them. So if I'm on your platform, I'm staying here, I have a strong Igbo community here. And we do sing Igbo songs in the churches. We sing them very well. We pronounce it very well. You won't even know that we are. You would think that we've been here for just a few months. We are very cultural here, and I love them so much. Like I said, they need to be strong in the issue of the young people. Because one of the things that the Igbo community did was that they were not active during the time of Peter Obi, because let me tell you, even if the kingdom come, there will be an Igbo president one day, and the journey has started, but the youth were not trained to be rascal. You understand? They were not trained to be risk takers. They're not trained to approach death. For example, don't fear death. And presidency is always stable when you are not afraid of death. Now, if anything happened to this country, if you look at their protests, you see that 96% are youth. They go out and protest against the president. If they die, they die. If they go to jail, they go to jail. And that's how you stabilize power. There was an elder Igbo man who asked me about the Igbo power, and I said that the reason Peter Obi was not empowered is because the youth did not come with anger, because he won the election. All over the world, no, everybody knew that he won the election, but that Igbo anger was not used. So you have to keep protesting until you can. They're supposed to call the whole world, come for us. That's how America was settled. It was from other voices. That's how Canada was settled. You have to come with other voices to take over, and that power should come from the elders to the youth. You need to empower your youth to be very risky. Don't be afraid. Just be risky. Yes, that's what I think, sir.
Thank you, Leoga. So where do you originally come from?
Oh, I'm from Ogoni.
Ogoni, yeah, you mentioned it the last time. Okay. Your place, you've been in the United States for a long time, right?
Yes, sir.
That's interesting. You still have some of your Nigerian accents, you know, right?
I don't want to lose it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a unique thing to, like to listen to you. I know a whole lot of young Igbo people. You can attest to that as well. Live
Yes.
in the United States or other places, you wouldn't even know that they are Igbo when they speak. The accent is pure American, or even those in Britain, thereabout. Anyway, I give it to you and thank you for the interest you developed for the Igbo nation and your affinity with them. I also know Ogoni is one of those places where you also find Igbo people who are, resident and indigenous. And so I'm happy you touched politics, which is not my strong point. But you made a very salient point, which I'm going to talk about, and then I will give Ikenna also a chance to talk about. Lewuga, do you know about Umibo Unite?
The people that unite?
No, Umibo Unite. UIU. Have you heard about it before?
No, sir.
Okay. Igbo Unite is a young Igbo group, or rather, a sociocultural group for young Igbo people. I think in the United States and Canada, I don't know of Britain, but I think about these two places. Okay, UIU, yes, they operate in the US and Canada. Now, so you can also, Google them. They have very powerful, very, very powerful group and then activities that they do. I am currently a 7 PRO for the World Igbo Congress.
Okay, that's good.
And one moment. Right. When I joined the World Igbo Congress a few years back, I served as an assistant secretary. Currently, the PRO, I'm not going to serve again. My tenure ends this year, and I'm not going to stand re-election. And one reason for that is because I do not appreciate the fact that that group, which is the highest sociocultural body of Igbo people living in the United States and other countries, even Australia, has not made any strong efforts in connecting with the younger Igbo group, which is the Igbo Unite.
Yeah.
When I joined the leadership, I raised this as a very strong point, one of the agenda that this group should do because of this whole thing, this whole cry we are crying here. But it was not, done. Until tomorrow, Igbo elderly people who belong to very different sociocultural groups, they are doing well, just like you rightly observed, those that are with you in Texas. And I will say that Texas is the headquarters of Igbo people, if not the entire Nigerian people in the United States.
Yes, sir.
So they are very involved in huge cultural activities. But even you who are not Igbo have understood, have observed that they are poor in carrying their young people along and being intentional in handing down the cultural identity and linguistic identity to them. That is the main problem. Igbo Unite on their own is also becoming a very strong sociocultural group, educational, intellectual, and all of that. But do you know what they lack? The language.
Yes, sir.
An average young Igbo person who is culturally minded, inclined, and all of that. Sally, can you mute? Sally, can you mute?
Sorry, it's a word. She's not word.
Sally, I can still, okay, fine. All right, so, but they do not have the language. An average Igbo Unite meeting will run all through on English. But they will appear in their Aishiago and all different cultural. They've invited Flavor to play and all of those stuff. But their meetings will run all. In fact, if you listen to the accent of most of the members, I've interacted with their leadership because I was really trying to bridge this gap. I had to call them to say, hey, I want this to happen between you and World Igbo Congress and all of that. They are open, but their own group, they are looking at the elders, reaching out to them officially to say, hey, you all are children. We want to have an official pathway we can hand down the knowledge, the elderly wisdom to you, because you are going to be replacing us when we're no longer here. It has never happened.
Yes, sir.
That is a huge problem. And that is one of the things that kills any community. It doesn't matter, like you believe that one day an Igbo person will become a president. It doesn't matter whether an Igbo person is a president or not, so long as the Igbo people, elderly ones, continue to neglect the fact that there's a disconnect between the elderly and the younger people in terms of linguistic power, it will continue to haunt us. And I'm saying this so that everybody who is in this class will understand, whether you are Igbo or not, and you are following this class. It is important. Okay, so, and that is what we are decrying, and that is what we are screaming about. Who are we waiting for? A savior from above to come and teach us how to connect with our younger people through our children who are willing, open to learn from us, who are open and willing to replace us when the time comes. But how can they replace us if they cannot speak the language? Something happened in the internet recently. There's a group of Delta young people who started claiming they are not Igbo, but they speak Igbo. But they are not Igbo. You know, all of this identity crisis thing going on. They walked up to the Oba of Benin, current Oba of Benin, to tell him that we are Benin instead, that our ancestors told us that we are Benin, we are not Igbo. a group of them, over 10 or something, they knelt down before the Oba of Benin to speak to the Oba of Benin. They spoke in English. Oba of Benin replied them in English. That is the height of ridicule anybody can be involved in. Kedu ka ị ga-esi aga ikwuru eze obodo gị okwu unu enweghị otu asụsụ unu ji ekwu okwu? How can't you speak to your king in your language? It is almost a taboo for a king to address his people in a foreign language. True or false? True. That is why somebody like Netanyahu, when he wants to address his people, he speaks Jewish language. I don't know how Jewish language works, whether it's one language or is. If French Macron, I hope he's still there. I'm lost in politics. Wants to speak to his people, he speaks French. Hebrew, my brother. How can you address your people in a foreign language? You are not. That was a sign. That was a sure sign and conclusion to anybody that these people are not from Benin. It doesn't matter how far it has been in time that they were cut off from whatever the thing. They are not from there. They just want to make a point.
You know one thing, sir?
Go ahead.
You said that you're hearing many people speak Igbo and they are not from the Igbo origin. Here in the universities, in some other places, they teach Igbo as a foreign language.
That's
so
beautiful.
It's a privilege. Yeah, it's a privilege for them to speak because that's the only way they can adopt an Igbo person that come to them as friends. That's the only way you can relate to them. So it's really good for us. Me, I've been trying to learn Igbo for many years. It's because I did not put my trust. It's because I'm not consistent, because I'm not trusting myself to learn these languages. That's why. So if you can send me the information about this group, and I'll talk to them, the elderly here. They are very humble here. These elder ones, they're very humble.
The chairman of World Igbo Congress WIC lives in Houston, Texas.
You've spoken to him about it?
I say I'm serving currently. I'm serving as an executive in World Igbo Congress.
Here in the States?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to them here.
Just Google World Igbo Congress. As a matter of fact, and the information about the next convention is everywhere. It's being shared, on internet today. If you see that jingle, you will see everybody's face, like the leadership and everything. I'm going to share that on the Omenka Igbo Action Group on Telegram. I'm going to share that jingle. As a matter of fact, I think I have it on my phone to share that. I don't know if you are on that group. You can, it's on Telegram. If you're not on that group, you can go ahead and go to the bio of Omenka app on TikTok and click the bio there. It will lead you to the group. And you'll be able to access the information there. Coming open to people there because Igbo people with outsiders, which is also a wonderful thing, but it's now haunting us in a way that we go out there, we build because we want to be, possess, and dominate, and all of those things. And we learn other people's language and speak it to the extent that you might think that we are not Igbo, but look at where it has gotten us to. Today, these are all beautiful things. Our people marry from outside, marry foreigners, African Americans, white, and all of that. But at the end of the day, you find out that as we are welcoming people to join and be part of our cultural identity, we are losing that same identity that we are proudly welcoming people to be part of. I wouldn't say our spirit of welcoming people is a good thing, is a bad thing. I cannot say that. It's a very wonderful thing. But we cannot replace what we owe. I watched a video yesterday of the preacher, one of the preachers I have listened to in my life. one of the very few that I respect, T.D. Jakes, Bishop T.D. Jakes of the United States, identifying as Igbo, right? And this lady took time in asking him questions, a whole lot of. There's something very powerful he said. He said that one thing about you Africans is that you, in the process of wanting to get what you think you need, you are losing what you already have, which is something that we.
Yes.
It was powerful, the way he expressed it. He identifies as Igbo today. He is proud to say, my ancestors come from Igbo. You can look for that, it's just a very new YouTube video. He says, in the process of we wanting to get what we think we need in life, we are losing what we hold, what we own, that is more powerful and more important than that we are pursuing in life. So if you look at it in terms of monetary value, cultural value, life value, and all of that, yes, we misplace priorities. Just like Obinna mentioned, that some of us parents, we complain about time. Oh, we don't even have time. And which is true. An average Igbo person living overseas is working back to back. An average Nigerian, average African is working back to back. Family can stay. Money, the job and money. You forget that all of that, effort you are putting has no meaning if it cannot translate and be transmitted to your children. And if in the process of that money and job that you are seeking to get and protect, you lose your family, you are a loser. It's as simple as that. You can now.
Yeah, come to on if you put on Maka, they will Liwang. I don't know if I call it well.
Lewoga.
Lewoga, yeah. If you who say.
She does not understand Igbo. If you can help her with English a little bit, okay? So that she's spread along since she's on the stage. Mm-hmm.
So there were some key things you mentioned about the disconnect between the older generation and the newer generation. In relay, in marathon, they pass the torch, right? So, and that's what the message you are trying to pass. That it's important for the old generation to successfully pass this torch, to the younger generation, and they have to do that. And another thing I want to mention is technology. Technology we have today, you can't really achieve so much without technology. And some of the people who have so much to offer, many of them, are not really utilizing the technology, so well. Like for example, I do wish you are able to, have a good conversation with some of these younger scholars that we mentioned, because some of these people, there are some of them that get so many messages and struggle to sift through to see the messages. Because if you are able to have a conversation with them, one thing you need to tell them is that we want them to utilize some of these new platforms. Like if you look at the engagement now, as I mentioned before, social media engagement has moved from typing and reading to oral conversation. We want to see them, we want to see them. Let them come. Let them. I checked. When I don't think he's involved, in TikTok here or in Facebook.
I think Obonna on a very large Facebook platform. I have seen his Facebook account and all that.
Yes, but what happens is that, and especially with the older generation, some people have this reservation about new technology, right? There are some people that whenever they hear TikTok, they already have some things in their mind about it. It's not for me.
Yes.
Or this. Yeah. But it helps in.
But Obonna is a young man, so I mean, he shouldn't be.
Yeah, we don't mind what we want to see. Like whenever you get a hold of them, you tell them that we want them to engage more. We don't even care where they are, whether they are in your platform or they're in their own platform. But the thing is, let them be involved, more. Because it's when they get involved and they get more with people, that is when we can, actually do more. Like, for example, let me give an example. There are little things people are curious about. Do you know that there are so many people that don't even know the meaning of their surnames?
Oh yeah.
Igbo.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are so many people that don't know.
Yeah. And that's what, sorry to cut you in. Nomenka app. We are documenting Igbo's surnames. So at least there are a few names that have been documented already from mostly Ebonyi State and Enugu. And what we intend to do, to provide the actual meanings of these names, where these names are named, what English we call etymology of the names. And because we know so many Igbo surnames are going, they are dying. And this is also a part of, the language dying. New surnames today are sounding more like English, sounding more like any other language but Igbo. That's just, a huge problem. Go ahead.
Yes, that consciousness is important. There are so many people that don't even know anything about their own family.
Wow. So many.
Yes, who their great grandparents are. Who they are. And this is where we are losing the group. You see, even white people, some of them will tell you about their fourth generation. About the past several generations. This is where they migrated from this.
You can pause. Let me also interject. Sorry, before I forget it. I have tried to say this in my class. Why we're all speaking this Igbo is because of our sister who is on stage here now and other people to follow. I have brought this up in the class at least a couple of times. I was a bit careful not to sound as a person my Christian brothers and sisters will see as an unbeliever. But I have tried to bring this in a very friendly way, but to ask a very salient question to say, why do we spend time to read the genealogy of Jesus Christ up to Adam? Why was it even a thing to be documented in the Bible? Why? Why have we also, for the several years we spent time to retrace Jesus to Abraham, we ended up claiming Abraham's blessings are ours, that's all. But we were not taught how to spend time to trace our own genealogy up to our great-grandfather. Virtually, almost every Igbo Christian does not know their history beyond two fathers, like two generations. Most of us. But we know who gave birth to Esau and Jacob, Isaac, and all of that up to the birth of Jesus Christ. The same people that brought us the same gospel are the people you are referring to now who trace their generations to as far back as they can find. Why? Why are we like this? Now, who do us?
So please, I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
We learn all this from history class, and then we ask questions. Young people are so curious. If you ask the parent, they will tell you that their children must have mentioned their great-grandparents. Remember when we were children, when we were young, we were so desperate to know everything. This question is taking place, but the parents are not interested to raise that up. Even me myself, I know all my my parents, I know all of them. I know the deepest history of the Igbos because we study about them. We study war history. When it comes to war history, we go deeper, we go everywhere. It is the responsibility of the parent to answer our questions.
Thank you.
The parent, they know everything. Oh, stop! Why you worry about that? That's not important. Why you worry about that? Before you know it, we are like 10, we are 15, we are 20, we are 45, and then we let that aside. And most of our parents are very ignorant in answering the most desperate question that these children need to know. It's very important. So you can set up historical classes just for them to know about the history back in the days. For example, most people in Ogoni, they developed from the war that took place around the area, and all of them migrated to Igbo. Most of them going to marry the Igbo people, and almost a lot of people in my village answer Igbo because they came from there. Most of us were born in the Igbo land, so those history will know that these people have contributed so much into the world. If you go to Egypt, you will know the history that the Igbo left there. So you got to go deeper so that we will know. And even in the university, we know more than most of the Igbos because we don't study your language, we study your food, your character, your behavior, association, the way you do things, even the weather, the food, the seasonal food, everything. So you have to be historical if you really want these young people to know. And that has to be a mandatory weekly classes, contribution consistency, or daily classes. You will see they will troop from all over to join.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ikenna.
Yeah, thanks, Idoka. Thank you so much. Regarding the collaboration, the older generation, the likes of FC Obala and the rest of them, those guys, even in the 90s and 2000s or something, they knew that there were only few of them. And they knew the enormity of the task they have in terms of preserving and promoting Igbo language. And they did so much. That was why those days in secondary school, people read a lot of quality Igbo novels. And people were taught well in Igbo. Now you find out that you even have fewer scholars, Igbo scholars or Igbo custodians. So which means that now they have even a bigger responsibility, in terms of preserving the language and the culture, if I'm people make sacrifices, and it takes a lot, to achieve anything, any big cause. So now if I'm born, some of these people, even some of these ones, who are really good, I think that many of them would want to do more, number for any of them, some of them not here with you in the US, with a number, tell us a message like through text message, get a go available. Our conversation maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You can let them know that when a lot of people, especially in this part of the world, North America, Europe, who are enthusiastic, who want, who are concerned about, the dwindling culture and all that language, and also selling the idea, to them. I know some of them may be busy with their projects, but occasionally, to have more presence in more interactive, forms of social media, like, here, maybe in YouTube, all these kind of live programs where they could engage, with people, because these guys, many of them have, this rich, wealth of, knowledge about Igbo language and culture that they need to pass, to the community. Look at what you mentioned about the Imo Igbo community. These are many of them are people who are born in this part of the world.
Yeah.
And they don't know so much. Some of them want to know, they want to learn.
They want to know. They have a burning desire in them.
Yes, many of them are available like in this space. Please, I know you've tried, before, but see if you're able to get their contact, send a message and have a conversation with them. And let them know that this population of people want to learn, from them. They want to tap from their knowledge. We want to see them, and they want to interact, with them in these spaces. Thank you.
Thank you, Ikenna. Again, thank you also, Lewuga. also for the insights that you've brought in this conversation today. Being from Ogoni, but I now, you see, from your conversation, we now have a better understanding why you have a unique interest in Igbo people. Yes, and then, so I also mentioned it that Ogoni is a place you also can find indigenous Igbo people. There's a very strong affinity between your people and our people. And Sekufu, thank you. Thank you for the heart. So, but it's a very wonderful thing that you, as a person, developed that unique interest to the point of, coming here, participating in the conversation, and also even, spending your money, giving gifts and all of that. Now, as I begin to round off, this is a 2-hour class, and we have spent 10 minutes after. I want to bring it all back to us. Ikenna, you have been a very wonderful, wonderful, passionate Igbo enthusiast. Now, beyond this class, how can we all help? Can we see ourselves being part of the advocacy rather? Can we see ourselves being part of the messengers, being part of those that can raise their voices, starting from your neighborhood? Now we come to this class. Can we be involved in inviting our own friends, our own brothers and sisters? There's this class that holds every Monday, so time. I would like you to join and listen. I'm going to, you all saw that when, you were making your points, I was writing things down. I'm going to incorporate some of these conversations, suggestions that we had here today. I'm also going to go out there and reach out to some of the people I've reached out to again to say, hey, we're still in this mess, we're still in this trouble. Gịnị ka anyị ga-eme? Ọ dị mkpa ka anyị leba anya ka anyị nwere ike isi, jikọta aka rụọ ọrụ. Okay, I am not in there for primarily to say, oh, I am building profit. Profit comes and you make it, fine. But what is the primary purpose that should be at the back of all of our hearts is to save our own race, save our kind, to preserve our generation. That's it. If it is not in the mind of anyone that is doing anything, even with social media and all, that means you are not in for it. Okay? Yes, thank you so much. I will not withdraw. I have
Sorry, I'm interjecting. Is it possible to find an Israeli that doesn't speak the Jewish language? You can find that.
Kedomaka Chinese.
The same thing, even the Indians.
Yes, you can hardly. But no one you want. Like the thing, sometimes it really does not make sense to me. And I don't know, like I keep asking, is it how we were made? Were we made that that we're going to be seeing a gradual erosion of our identity, and we keep silent about it? And
permit me to digress, even though we don't talk about politics, but Luca mentioned something. You know, there is something that I observed, very painful. You may have observed it, but there is something that I observed, very, very painful. Do you know that even though now, for so many reasons, Obi stands out in this coming election, but most of his media team, people supporting him, they are not Igbos.
Yes.
Muslims.
Yes.
When I observed this, and I was so disappointed.
People like Lewuga now that you see as an ordinary person, an ordinary human being. You see Mama P, the girl I started like watching more often now than not Igbo. You see the other one, Peter for Nigeria, not Igbo. Like most of these people who have the loudest voices in support of a special kind that came from Igbo nation, they are not Igbo. You're rightly right. They are not.
Do you know why we are contributing? It's because when we search the historical event or presidency, the Igbo it's been a long time that we saw an Igbo man become a president. It's been years and years and years, and it has been their turn for us to have an Igbo man on this throne in a long time. So something must be done. Don't worry, God is working on your
Amen.
behalf. Don't worry.
How are you all? Your class is starting now, right?
Yes. No, we're really early for ours.
All right. Okay.
No worries.
All right. I'm rounding off. All right. So ụmụnne na ụmụnna m ana m ekele unu. Oge anyị agafeela. Ikenna ndewo. Collaboration is a key. Maazị Ogbonna, I couldn't read what you wrote, but I would like to hear more about your lineage and why, ndị mmadụ ji na-agbanwe aha, their middle name and all of that. So next class we'll continue with the topic that we started last week. Lewuga, thank you. God bless you. And all of you who are coming from outside to support the Igbo cause and all of that. Chukwu gozie gị. Igbo si na ụbọchị nta ka anyị chọọ na were nchi ndị batara na YouTube ekelele m unu. I want to express my gratitude. Tupu anyị na-enwe mkparịta ụka ọzọ, I will do some homework. Aga m ewetara unu ozi ụfọdụ mgbalị m mere na ụfọdụ ihe m mere iji mee ka unu mara na anyị na-agba mbọ, enwere m mmasị ịgba mbọ ahụ. So thank you so much, and aga m asị n'oge dị ugbu a ka ọ dị n'izu na-abịa abịa, n'ihi na ebe m na-akụzi ihe ndị ọzọ na-abịa ịmụkwa ihe ebe a. Please let us be here next week. Appreciate you, Sekufos. Appreciate all of you who are giving gifts and making this moment a moment of usefulness, not just to yourself, but to all of us who are part of this. All right.